Hi friends, Renee Keys here with Carolina Creative. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here with card making ideas for you. Today I'm going to feature another stamp set that will be retiring, and this is not just a stamp set, it's stamps and dies. All my dies are stored inside here. I have loved this since it first came out, so I think it's been available for 2 years now, but there is just so much variation you can do with this stamp set and all the sentiments. A variety of flowers, there's two-step stamping with flowers and leaves, and then all these great sentiments. Let's celebrate you, let's celebrate your graduation, your anniversary, just all these things that you can do. So I've really been enjoying this, and I'm going to give it its last hurrah. The papers that came out with this are currently discontinued, but these were some great florals. You may still have some of this around. When you flip it over, it had some really nice, smaller themed prints on the back. So today, the one I've picked to work with is this. So it's got shaded spruce and balmy blue and petal pink and a little bit of, I think that's the pale papaya. And so I'm going to work with that. I'm going to set these papers aside. I've already done some die cutting just to save myself some time. So I'll show you what I've got here on my work table. I went ahead and punched out the stem and leaves with that die. I die cut at least one blue flower, the big one. I die cut the outline here in, that should be pale papaya. And then I did a variety of these little tiny flowers in petal pink and in balmy blue. And then I've always thought this was a really fun piece for a sentiment because when you punch it out, it already has some of the flowers, and I'm going to add to that with the other colored flowers. So I've just got a variety of pieces I'm going to work with. My card base here is the petal pink. And then I've got 3 strips, and they're not all exactly uniform. These were left over from other cards. This was the leftover strip. So I've just decided to use these, and I'm going to dress it up with the flowers and, my sentiment and everything else that's going on here. So I'm going to start by stamping the inside of the card, and I've got petal pink ink to match my card base, and I'm just going to put best wishes. And this is from the With You in Mind stamp set. This is one of the newer stamp sets. I love the sentiments on here because, again, they can be used for so many different things. So I'm going to stamp best wishes, and then I'm going to stamp, everything else will be in blue. So I've got my light blue, my balmy blue here, and I'm just going to put a couple little flowers, and it's just the outline. So I'm going to do 2 different colors there. I stamped off so I kind of have 2-tone. I was going to do that. And then on the front of the card, I wanted to stamp for your anniversary. So I've already got those lined up on my block, if you can see that. And I'm going to center this. Sometimes it helps if I line it up straight. A lot of times I just stamp. But if I do make that straight and then line up my stamp, let's hope that this comes out. Yes. So not real bold and in your face. I could have used midnight blue or night of navy, or, night of navy would have been really dark, but it's darker than that blue. And what you're going to see is on this paper, the smaller flowers have that light color of blue. So what I could do to sprinkle this, add a little splash here. I've already got some ink. So I'm just going to, the darker of the two, add some blue ink with my Wink of Stella pen and just give it a little shimmer. And this one will have the shimmer but without the color. So I've just got 2 different colored flowers right there. Something a little different for the inside. And now I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to the inside, and then I will come back and do the front. So dots of glue. Oh, I gave it a squeeze before I was ready, and well, I hate to do this, but I'm going to spread it around. Luckily, I have a tissue down here. And a lot of times I keep a baby wipe or something handy, but I did just have a tissue. So more glue than I really wanted. So let's put this in here. Now you can see how the two colors match. So I coordinated it with my card base. And now I've got these 3 pieces. So because I think I'm going to slide them around a little bit, I'm going to use my liquid glue instead of the Stamp and Seal. And I think I'm going to leave a slightly bigger margin at the top and bottom. So something like that. Now, I am going to glue up to the edges. And then leave a bigger margin at the bottom, and I'm going to try to match this at the top when I do the top piece. And then I find if I do the top and bottom, then it gets really easy to center the piece I'm going to put in the middle. So that's what I'm going to do. Yep, eyeballing that like that. And now this one should be easier to place in the middle. Isn't that basket weave cool? So I will be using these papers. I will definitely be able to use these up. I think by flipping them over if I don't want to try to coordinate with the stamp set anymore. So I kind of went big and then smaller on top. And I'm thinking that's going to go on there, down low, because I'm going to put my flower leaning over this way. So I think I'm going to assemble parts of the big flower first. So let's put a little bit of glue on this decorative outline. And there probably is an exact way to match it up, but I'm not going to be too fussy and just put it on there whichever. And because I've got a little bit of glue, it's going to be a little shiny, I'm going to go ahead and put some Wink of Stella on there and just give the whole thing some shimmer because the glue did ooze out the sides. Now I'm going to go ahead and put dimensionals behind my sentiment. And that's just to make sure that I have it popped up, give it some support. It's probably going to take about 6 by looking at this. One more on the end, and I think one more in the middle there. And because my fingers are still a little sticky from glue, it's coming off. Now this was pale papaya, so this is a different color. It's like the flowers, but not the same as my card base, and that was intentional. I didn't want it to be too matchy-matchy there. I wanted it to contrast, which it does. Okay, now I'm going to punch out some of these details in the leaves, but probably not all of them. I'm just going to give it a little bit of variation. So now I'm going to put some glue. Boy, this flesh tube of glue is really juicy. And so I'm just giving it a tender squeeze and it's oozing out. And I think I want this to kind of angle over a little bit. So like that. And touch that down. Now, yep, I think this needs some support behind it too. So let me put maybe 2 just to make that pop up off the front of the card, and it will coordinate with the flowers that are already in the designer series paper. So what I've got left is some of these little tiny flowers, and what I think I'll do is I'm going to dot some glue on there and just pick these up and then place them around. I was going to add to what was already here. So I will have orange, pink, blue, a little bit of everything, and I'm going to punch out some of these little inserted pieces here. Yep, and get that to pop out. So now I'm going to add one of these pale, move it where I want it, petal pink. And I'm going to put a couple more up here. So let's maybe put one up here and one over here. And maybe the blue. And another petal pink in the middle here. Oh, it wanted to pop right off. Okay, so I've got a variety of the colors now. And then what I'm going to add is I've got my little pearls. And I'm going to put those, let's see if these will come off nice and easy. Put those right as the center of the flower. So anywhere I've got a center of a flower, and that's going to just hang right there, I'm going to give it, yep, a pearl. Pick it up. Luckily, these have adhesive on them, so it makes it a little bit easier once you put them in place. They stay right where you put them. Do I need it anywhere else? How about right in the middle there? So I'm going to go slightly bigger. These do have a couple different sizes. And it's stuck right to my die over there. And like I say, just trying to make them match, just like that. Now, what I could do, and of course I will, is grab my Wink of Stella and some of these bigger flowers. I'm just going to give them a little bit of the shimmer. Just so when somebody picks up the card, they're able to see some of that pretty shimmer. And we got some petals up there. Okay, so that's my card. I think I'm done. It's for your anniversary. I used up some of the pretty paper, and there's some really fun papers in this set. Did some die cuts. You know, there were small pieces, and then you see how I filled in just to give it that sprinkling of flowers like you're seeing in the background here. And on the inside it says best wishes, and I'm kind of matching my blue to my blue flower here. I could stamp another petal pink in there if I want to. It's totally up to you. A ribbon might look pretty on here too, but I think for right now with the pearls, that's probably enough. I don't like to go too overboard with the bling. You may have already noticed that if you've been following me for a while. I'll put bling on there, but I don't go overboard. So there's my card making idea for today. This is another stamp and die set. This is a great bundle that will be retiring the end of April. So if you like the products and the projects you've seen here, you can find me at Carolina Creative or hashtag Carolina Creative. And I am on the Stampin' Up! Network. It's Renee Keese at Stampin'Up.net. Thanks for joining me today. Stay tuned for the next video. Look forward to seeing you.